Welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host Connor, and today I've put together a video for you with royal jewels, secret identities, and hidden love affairs. But before we dive into the list, I just want to quickly shout out one of our sister channels, Top 10 Central. It's our reaction channel where the hosts get together to have some laughs, watch great content, and have a fun time. If you love hanging out with us here on Most Amazing, you'll love hanging out with us over there. Make sure you check out the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and leave a comment to let them know that I sent you. Let's help get them to 200,000 subscribers. Huh? Now, let's get into the list. Number 10. Secret Memorial. The sudden and tragic passing of Princess Diana shook much of the world, but it hit no one harder than Prince William. He loved his mother and has spoken openly about how much she meant to him and the pain her death has caused him. Perhaps that's why he likes to keep her around in small, secret ways, in everyday life and on special occasions such as his wedding or most recently his grandmother the Queen's funeral. The prince can be seen wearing a silver banded watch, an Omega Seamaster 300M to be exact. This same type of watch is worn by none other than James Bond in many of his films, usually including a neat gadget like a laser or a grappling hook. But the prince's doesn't have any spy features that we know of, and he doesn't wear it as part of a low-effort cosplay. No, this watch was actually given to him by his mother Diana, and he treasures it so much that he wears it as often as he can, even while conducting military operations as an Air Force helicopter pilot, showing just how much the gift and his mother meant to him. Number 9. Codenames. Before I get into this next one, guys, be sure to like and subscribe so that I can keep bringing you the most amazing videos. Now, it's no secret how much the royals require security, and being some of the most well-known, and some may say most controversial, figures in the world, I can see why. For example, Prince Harry's wedding to Meghan Markle cost a whopping £33.5 million, and $30 million of that was spent on security alone. But security isn't all black suits and earpieces. One of the most simple and effective ways the royals keep their privacy is by using code names for traveling, booking events, or making purchases. One of the secret names meant to denote the prince is Danny Collins, while Kate's was Daphne Clark, the first letters of both names being DC, the initials of their royal titles, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. But the secret names don't stop there. While attending University of St. Andrews, William decided to go by the name Steve in order to keep a lower profile and focus on his studies. Although now all I can think of is one of his uni friends watching the Coronation on TV and saying, "Oi, isn't that bloke Steve from chemistry class on the telly?" Number 8. Speaking of code names, Prince William actually had another nickname when he was younger, Billy the Basher. Reportedly, in preschool, the young prince had a sort of rough and tumble attitude. He pushed his way to the front of lines, teased students by pushing them around, and had a bit of a temper when it came to following the rules. The name was given to him not only by students but by his teacher, and some of the other parents adopted it as well. Allegedly, he also used to flex on the other kids with his royal stature, even going so far as to say things like, "My daddy can beat up your daddy, my daddy's the Prince of Wales." And apparently, this cheeky attitude and rude behavior followed him home from school, and Queen Elizabeth II had to have a chat with him and say that his behavior was not acceptable. Imagine getting put into timeout by the Queen. Number 7. Childhood crush. Although they seem otherworldly at times, at the end of the day, the royals are all people just like us, and even being in line for the throne doesn't save you from teenage embarrassment. Like many people his age, 13-year-old William had posters on his walls of singers, movies, and supermodels. And one day, his mother hatched a beautiful scheme. While the future king was at school, Diana was on the phone preparing for the prank of a lifetime. Friends and family often talked about how much she enjoyed pranking and goofing around with those that she cared about. When William and Harry came home from class and walked up the stairs at Kensington Palace, they saw not just their mother, but also Cindy Crawford, Christy Turlington, and Naomi Campbell, three of the models the boys had on their walls, standing there as though they had stepped right out of their posters. William, quote, "went bright red, didn't know what to say, and pretty much fell down the stairs." As a teenager, he tried to keep this embarrassing happening a secret, but now it's a fond memory of his mother, who he says was quite a joker. Number 6. While the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have been together for many years and got together while he was still just Steve, that doesn't mean that they haven't had their problems. In 2020, a new book revealed that the two had actually had a brief separation period in 2006, 3 years before their engagement. But this wasn't a mutual decision, apparently. Will actually dumped Kate over the phone, while she was at work, no less. I've had the misfortune of being broken up with on a phone call, but I can't imagine how it would have felt to have a future king dump you while you're prepping for the 11 o'clock meeting. That's cold, Bill. Kate was not one to mope around though, as she was seen not too long after out on the town with her friends, and eventually William came to his senses and reconciled with his now wife. Number 5. You're a wizard, William. Harry Potter and the future king have more in common than just an accent and a castle, but they also share some key facial features, namely the scar. While Harry Potter got his scar as the result of magic gone wrong, or right, depending on how you slice it, William got his in a much less mystical way. When he was 13, the prince was playing golf with some of his classmates and, well, in his own words, we were on a putting green and the next thing you know there was a 7-iron and it came out of nowhere and it hit me in the head. This accident left him with a lightning bolt-esque scar on his forehead, much like Harry's in the books and movies. Now hopefully the prince's scar isn't a warning sign that part of a dark wizard's soul exists inside of him, but I don't think that he was hit by Voldemort's golf club, so we should be good. Number 4. Helicopter Hell. Now, it's no secret that many of the royals also hold military titles and duties. Even the late Queen Elizabeth II served in the armed forces, and Prince William is no exception. He completed 7.5 years of full-time military service, including as a pilot for the Royal Air Force. He has used his helicopter pilot's license and skills outside of the military, however, as he was also a pilot for an air ambulance service. William has stated in multiple interviews that while the work was extremely fulfilling, it was also incredibly mentally taxing. He's thankful that he was able to use his skills to save many lives from many dangerous situations, but some of the scenes he was called to were too much for him, and he sometimes needed to step away for a moment. In the few instances where this happened, the prince explains that children were involved, and it made him think too much of his own children. Surely a job like that will leave you with some mental scars, so thank you to those of you out there who are first responders and help people in terrible situations. Number 3. Saucy Ski Trip. In 2017, on a boys' trip to Switzerland, William had many embarrassing videos surface involving him dancing. The first of which was relatively harmless, and it shows the Duke of Cambridge dad dancing in a club. Kinda like this. Now, those moves, while embarrassing, did not get him in any hot water, but the next moves sure did. Another video surfaced later of the prince dancing with 2 women, a blonde and a brunette, not at the same time, mind you, and quote, gyrating and grabbing hips with them. It is thought that one of the women is Australian supermodel Sophie Taylor, who was seen with William on the slopes earlier that weekend. Obviously, he would have liked this to stay buried, especially since his wife was at home with the children at the time. Number 2. An early coronation. Since we now know how much Prince William likes to tear up the dance floor, we need to talk about how he won a crown while dancing. No, not that kind. At his friend Tom's wedding, the usually reserved William let loose, and being one of the few members of his family in attendance, many eyes were on him. But this didn't stop him from giving it his all. While messing around and trying some, let's say, experimental dance moves out, the prince fell and broke a tooth. Now, I've broken a tooth before, and it's not a fun thing to deal with, not to mention how much it shocks you when you look in the mirror. But to make matters worse for Will, Kate was 9 months pregnant at the time and due any day, so the prince was worried that if Kate went into labor that night, he'd have to smile for the cameras with a missing tooth. Luckily, he was able to get some emergency dental work done to hide the embarrassing mistake. And number 1. A rose by any other name. In 2019, rumors arose of a rift in the friendship between the Duchess of Cambridge and her longtime friend Rose Hanbury when the British tabloid The Sun published an article stating that Prince William asked her to begin phasing Rose out of their lives. William made a statement against these claims, threatening legal action against any publications that continue to circulate the rumors, but now a UK journalist, Giles Corrin, made a claim in a now deleted tweet that Rose and William were having an affair, and that this is what caused the rift. With many public royal events still happening in the wake of the Queen's passing, and Rose attending many of these events along with the Duke and Duchess, it makes these claims all the more volatile. And since there is no real evidence to go along with it, and the story is still developing, we need to take all of this with a massive spoonful of salt, and wait to see what else happens. Either way, this would not be a secret the royals would want getting out. That's all I've got for you today. Stay amazing, and I'll see you later.